Hello, my name is Brad Fagergren. I'm with Stratus HR in the Human Resources Department, and wanted to talk a little bit about social media posts. And this is something that comes up frequently in our day and age where somebody will go online, maybe a disgruntled employee, they'll post something that disparages the company, or they'll make some mean remarks against their supervisor. And so we'll get questions about that. And the question is whether or not we can discipline the employee for making those comments. Now, a lot of times we do have social media policies, which helps. But what we want to make sure is that we kind of scrutinize those posts and before we take action to determine if there's any protections that that employee has with those posts. And specifically what we're talking about is Section 7 of the NLRA, which is the National Labor Relations Act. And the part of Section 7 that we're talking about is that employees are allowed to, they're allowed protection from concerted activities for the mutual aid and benefit of each other and their employees. So what that means is that if employees are making posts that, number one, are concerted, that means that the post is viewed by one or more people, one or more employees rather, those employees are commenting on the post, then it could be concerted. Or if the employee is making a statement on behalf of other employees, acting on behalf of those employees, then that could be concerted. Also, if the employee is making a post that is stemming from a previous incident at work that was a concerted activity and now they're going online and making a post, then that could be concerted. So that's kind of the first stem is to be protected, it has to be concerted activity. The second is it has to be protected. And what we mean by protected is it has to be about their working conditions. To summarize that, it has to be about their working conditions. So if an employee just goes online and says, you know what, I really don't like my supervisor, she did this and this and this, and she is a buffoon, okay? Let's say that they do that. Now, and other coworkers, our Facebook friends, they comment on that, then okay, that would be concerted. But if it's just complaining, it's probably not protected, okay? But if those complaints are stemming from a, let's say the supervisor made a decision that was an unfair labor practice, or made a decision that the employees wanted to talk about that was related to their working conditions, then that could be protected. So we really want to make sure that we kind of scrutinize these things before we make a decision to discipline an employee. Simply because sometimes it's protected speech and sometimes it's not. And we have to go through this kind of evaluation to make that determination. So a couple things just before I end. Just making disparaging comments about the company, saying, hey, you know what, this company is not a good company, they suck, I don't like working for them. If the purpose of that is just to disparage the company and to create problems for their vendors, that maybe that's visible by a lot of people, then that probably isn't protected if that's the purpose. But making comments about a supervisor, even if they call names, even if there's name calling involved, and if there's not threats, that could still be protected depending upon what the post is about and what it is stemming from. So talk to your HR consultant if you have questions about this. Here at Stratus HR, we want to make sure we're compliant in handling these social media posts and following the NLRA and the Section 7 guidelines. Thank you.